Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about Heroes of Hammerwatch, and more specifically, we're going to be talking about a lot of the stats and features of the game, and kind of like a guide as to what everything is. And to fully show this, I'm going to be using two profiles. One profile is a profile I actively play on, and the other profile is this new profile I just created, so I can show you what you actually start off with. So first and foremost, when you go and you want to play the game, you can create characters, and as you'll notice, I have Witch Hunter because I have the Witch Hunter DLC, and I also have Gladiator because I have the Gladiator DLC, but Gladiator and Wizard and Priest and Thief are all classes that need to be unlocked throughout the game as you play it. The other four classes you have are Paladin, Ranger, Sorcerer, Warlock. I'm not going into details about each and every class because I can do that in another video. But then when you select your class, you have character customization. You've got skin, hair, and then all the armor sets. And you'll notice you only start out with a few paints, but as you play the game, you unlock more paints as you go, which then can be used for new characters, or in the town you can change your really any of these things later on. So we'll just hop right into it with our random gen, and this is what your starting town will look like. And nothing's unlocked in the starting town, so over here is probably the most important building when you start out to know about, and this is the town hall. And the town hall is what lets you unlock other buildings. Like, as you can see, I have the blacksmith here, but it's not unlocked, so I can't use it, and it's tier 1. As you upgrade your town hall, you get access to more tiers, and then through that, more upgrades or beneficial things. I would say the most important thing to upgrade in your town hall is the Guildhall, but I'll tell you about my preferences once I hop onto my other account later, when I can show you all of the stuff you can unlock. So yeah, this is the blacksmith. And then this guy lets you buy pets. Pets collect gold and ore for you throughout the game, and they're very helpful. This lady asks you to find a book for her. Once you get the book, you can spend your stars. There's 3 resources in this game. There's gold, which is this one, ore, which is used to upgrade the town, and statues, which come from the Pyramid of Prophecy DLC. And stars. Stars are used to enhance items later on in the game, enhance your stats against monsters later on in the game, and upgrade skills at the trainer up here. As you can see, because I don't have the higher levels, the tier 2, 3, 4, and 5 are all locked, so I can't access them. This is the guy who changes your style. He's always here. The blacksmith, as I said earlier, can't do anything for us. Over here is the apothecary person. They upgrade your potions and how well the health pickups and mana pickups do for you. This guy over here, he's the general merchant. He sells you items before runs. How this game works is you get new items every single time, you know, since it's a roguelike. But there's upgrades in the town that give you permanent benefits, like the blacksmith. The blacksmith gives you armor, attack power, and stuff like that. Over here will be the ore trader once you unlock him, and he converts between ore and gold, and as you upgrade him you get better rates. In here you get 2 things. You get gambling and drinks. Drinks are very important for the late game, and gambling, the one thing that should be noted about gambling is you can't actually change the results. They're predetermined in an array in the game, but with the new update that just recently came out, gambling is very useful, because gambling lets you acquire drinks and blueprints, and blueprints are what lets you enhance items or craft them at the start of a run with ore. So gambling is very good, but you also have to bet, I think it's 5,000 or more to actually have a chance at getting a drink or a blueprint, or maybe it's 10,000, I'm not sure. So those are those. This is the fountain. The fountain lets you customize your runs with tons of stuff. You can get glass walks to make trap rooms easier. You can make some things happen more often, some things happen less often. You can make traps deal less damage. There's lots of stuff to do in the fountain. I would say it's one of the most valuable upgrades because you can also just turn on tons of negatives and get extra gold and EXP gain if you're just trying to level up. And then it costs you nothing. This was the town hall, and in here is the magic shop. The magic shop's similar to the blacksmith, but they give you like resistance instead of armor and skill power instead of attack power. Next is the chapel. The chapel is very important. Very costly upgrades. I think it's 10,000, 25,000, maybe it's 20,000, 50,000, and 100,000 gold. But the upgrades you get from the chapel are incredibly useful in the game. And so this is a high priority too, I would say. How I would get those, the chapel ones, the most convenient way is you have this thing called a guild title. And right now I'm unknown, but every single time you get enough mini achievements to upgrade your guild, it gives you a bonus of stars for all your characters, gold, and ore. The other thing that should be noted is gold and ore in the town are stored per profile. So if I have 500 gold on this character and I go to another character, I'll still have 500 gold. And if I spend 100 gold on the other character and I come back to this character, I'll have 400 gold. One way you can do it later on is you get one really strong character and then you build up your other characters with money you make on your first character. Next we'll talk about the Guildhall. This is important. Class titles are very important, I would say. So each of these represents a character, and they're question marks because I don't have other characters on this profile. But every single character, for the first boss that you beat, all the way through the finish of the first game level, gives you a class title increment. And class titles give you extra stats, like the paladin will give you armor, the ranger gives you attack power, the sorcerer gives you mana regen, and you know, the list goes on, and they're very useful. And so one of the ways that you can get further in the game in terms of beating higher difficulties is by upgrading these class titles, which will boost up your chances at you know, just beating the next NG, because you have tons of extra stats added in every single time. This is very important. Accomplishments, this is where you get those points. And so the ones marked with the pyramid are pyramids of prophecy, and the ones marked with the witch hat are witch hunters. Bestiary shows you all the stuff you fought. There's nothing here because I haven't fought anything. Itemiary shows you all the items and drinks you found, so you can look at them and see what they do. Next, this is what I believe to be probably the most important thing to know, because there's a lot of stats here. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, you press G to enter the Guildhall menu and C to enter this menu. This menu has a few important things. Map is very useful because your tab map shows you kind of the same thing, but on the map you can scroll around. So when you complete a level, you can check, did I get everything? Map, that's why map's important. Character is, this menu was very confusing for me when I first started, because there's a lot of stuff here, and not all of it's confusing, but some of it needs some level of explanation, and that's what I'll do for you guys. Health is pretty self-explanatory. Health regen is how much health you regenerate every second. Mana is your mana. Mana regen, how much you regenerate every second. Movement speed, 2.4. The key thing to know about the movement speed to remember is that it's a very low number. There's boots of speed that gives you like 0.1 movement speed, and that sounds really slow, but 0.1 compared to 2.4 actually isn't that bad. Or maybe it's 2. It's 0.2. I'm not sure. Experience is, you know, it's kind of self-explanatory. It tells you how much you have left to level up. How your rate can be changed by the fountain, as I said before, and maybe also NGs, but I don't think so. Then you have attack power. This is the most confusing stat, attack and skill power in the game. Attack power and skill power address two different things in the game. Skill power affects they're both percentages, is the first thing I should say. So if you get 10 attack power, you're not hitting for 10 more damage. You have 10 attack power, each of which increases your damage by 2%. So you get a 20% damage boost. You don't get 10 extra attack, right? Your actual attack can be seen down here on your primary attack and your skills. It tells you how much damage they do. So 16 physical damage in a 90-degree arc means you hit for 16. If you have 10 attack power, that's increased by 20%. And so it doesn't increase it to 26. It's not as huge of an upgrade as you would think it is. And that's very important to note, because for characters like the Thief or any other character that does low base damage, it's incredibly important that you get physical damage added or magic damage added to a primary attack, because that makes more of a substantial increase than any amount of attack power could do. Because I think the Thief, for example, has a base attack of like 16. So if you get, you know, 100% boost from your attack power, it goes up to 32. But if you roll a Judgment, it gives you 12 attack damage, and that goes up to, you know, 28, and then you get a 100% attack power increase, and that's gonna be 56 rather than 32. There's a huge difference between having extra physical and magic damage on your primary and having attack power than just having tons of attack power. So ultimately, my ideology is that attack power is important, but something that's more important for characters like the Thief or anyone else that has a low primary base damage is you want stuff like the Spiked Flail, which adds 3 damage, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's huge when it's getting enhanced by, you know, 200% from the attack power. You know, that's 9 whole damage added on. So attack power and skill power work like that. The other thing is attack power modifies your primary attack, this skill, that's it, and then the chapel as well. The chapel's final buff is kind of like a second primary attack that you get on your primary attack, and that's what attack power addresses. It doesn't address physical damage and not magic damage or something like that. It's just anything that's your primary attack will be enhanced by attack power. Skill power enhances the effects of every single item and every single skill you have. I'm not sure if it enhances stuff like the Paladin's heal, but I know in terms of damage, anything that does damage, which is what it says, increases damage done. Anything that does damage gets increased by it. Armor is, you know, there's a flat amount of armor and it increases your percentages. The thing to note here is, as you go up in NG, your armor gets reduced more and more and more, and the less armor you have, it goes into the negatives, you start taking additional damage. So armor and resist are very important stats to have, because they keep you from getting one shot by just any normal mob. Crit chance, this shows you a lot of information, and it's all pretty self-explanatory. You have your crit damage, your skill crit damage, and then respective crit chances. As with attack power and skill power, skill crit chance and skill crit damage apply to both the skills of your character as well as the items, and crit damage and crit chance apply to the 2 primary things, the thing in the chapel and your actual primary. The other thing to note here is we're getting into the percentages. These are the 3 percentage stats that you have in your window, basically. Luck is not a percentage, but it affects percentages. I'll attach a link in the description to luck, like a chart, so that you can see how big of an effect luck has on percentages. Now, the other thing to know about percentages is if you get something like Slippery Cloak gives you 6% evasion, and let's say you get Rapier of Retaliation, which gives you, I think, 5% evasion. You don't end up with 11% evasion, because what it does is it says, okay, you have 6% evade, and then that drops you down to, you know, you have a 94% chance to get hit. Once you get the next, or a 6% chance not to get hit. Once you get the next 5%, there's less, it's not 100%. It's not 5% off of 100%. It's 5% off of 96%. So it's actually less, it gives you less evade chance than you would think, and that's not a bug, that's just, you know, that's proper, you know, percentages working on each other. And so it's important to know this, because you could think, oh, this is really, really good, and maybe it's not so great, I'll show you an example of this when I go on my other profile. So that's crit chance and evade chance. Evade chance just is a flat chance to evade anything. Important note here is there are things like flame traps in the game, and if you dodge them, you still get the flame debuff, so you'll still be taking damage over time, but usually the damage over time is much less than the initial damage, so dodging it is still very effective. Resources, we got 4 stats here. These are your gold gain. These will show you your gold gain and your ore gain, as well as how much ore you have on your current run, these top 2. The next 2 are your gold and your ore in the town, and the tax shows you, oh, you have this much gold, so you're gonna have this much of a tax when you send your ore slash gold back up. Ore does not get taxed, which is very important, and gold does. So a standard procedure once you're further on in the game is, before any run, turn all your gold into ore, because then your taxes will be less. Keys are very important in the game. They open up chests. A silver key cannot open up a bronze chest. A gold key can't open up a bronze chest. They can only open up the chests of their type, not anything underneath. Ace keys are very rare, and their chests are also very rare, but there's a guaranteed one at the end of the game. So these are important to get because they give you better items. I think there's unlocked chests as well. Unlocked chests, I believe, can't give you greens, but I could be wrong. Bronze chests give you greens or whites. Silver chests give you blues, greens, or whites. I'm not sure if they can give you whites, actually. Gold chests give you purples, blues, or greens. Ace chests give you either purples or reds, which are legendaries. So that's all we got in this. Oh, and then you have your level up here, of course. Effects will show you anything that's currently affecting you. Your fountains will go in here, all the stuff you select in your fountain, as well as your drinks. And any monoliths that you take, or blood rights, and you can see exactly what they do. And then stats shows you stuff like your current run time, how much ore you've made in this run, as well as your all-time records for all these things, max damage dealt, blah blah blah, all that stuff. Alright, so that's pretty much the covering of everything that's in the normal game. And now we'll go over to my other profile, and I can show you stuff like what I would upgrade in the town hall first. Just swap profiles to this one. Okay, so in the town hall, as you can see, all my buildings look different because they're all maxed out. These are all the upgrades you can get, right? I would say tax is kind of the least important one. Now, to hear me out on this, is the tax rate builds to 50% based on how much gold you have, right? So, but it builds exponentially. So you saw before I had a 4.8% tax on 500 gold, and I was at this one. You start with Treasury 1. So it was a 50% at 10,000, and I was already getting taxed almost 5%. So I don't think this is very important to upgrade. Later on, let's see. Actually, let's start with what you should start off with. I would say Guildhall is the most important. Skills make the biggest impact in your game, and having them higher makes your runs much easier than having an extra item or something like that would. This is a very important upgrade. I would also say Fountain is very important because it's cheap. Fountain has 2 levels, and then you unlock all the bonuses, and you can select what you want, which is very important. The next important thing I would say is the Blacksmith. Getting more armor, getting more attack power, getting more crit chance, crit damage, movement speed, all of that incredibly important for runs and has a pretty big influence. I would say at the start of the game, your big things you want are Blacksmith, Guildhall, but most importantly, this first level of Apothecary will get you an extra potion charge, and that will take you a lot further. There's other upgrades in here, but Apothecary is one of those things that as you go down the tree, it's worth less to you because you're less and less reliant on potions. Blacksmith is always good to upgrade. Ore Trader is good because it increases the rates. If you start with the first Ore Trader, it's like 1,500 gold to buy 1 ore, and you get like, I don't know how much you get when you sell it. I think it's like 250 gold. Once you get it maxed, it's 800 gold to buy an ore, and you get 700 back when you sell it. Chapel, as I said, is very important. The thing to note here, though, is that Chapel has very expensive upgrades, so it doesn't do you much good to upgrade it early on, but this first level, once you unlock the Chapel, gets you the Priest. So if you want to play the Priest, this is a very important upgrade, because once you unlock the Chapel in your town, you've unlocked the Priest. Same thing with the Tavern. This guy unlocks the Thief. If you want to play the Thief, get the Tavern as soon as possible. You can only unlock the Tavern after you get to Act 2 in the game, and you'll find a thief locked in a cell, and you have to save him, and then you can upgrade the Tavern. Similarly, there's the Wizard for the magic shop. This one unlocks the Wizard, and in Act 3, I believe, you find the Wizard in a secret room. Secret rooms are marked by cracks on the walls, and once you find him, then you can buy the magic shop, which is an important upgrade because it gives you extra resist and skill bonus damage and stuff like that, which is important. So that's pretty much all I would say for that. Fountains are kind of all up to you, but when I started playing, I watched this guy named Weeks, and I pretty much run with what he says. I would say all this green stuff is very important, I would say. Gentle traps you may not need. Toppled towers is really convenient for a quick run. Safe corridors, very convenient for a quick run. You don't need either of these, but I would say they're very important because they make your life easier. It's Your Lucky Day is good because luck affects your percentage stats and increases them. So I would say this is very important. Plentiful Gifts, increased chance of finding imps. Imps give you either items, gold, or experience. I don't know if they give you anything else. Oh, you can send your gold back to town tax-free. Those are all very important things, and they're all very good. So this is just a no-brainer, really. It's really good to take. Mysterious Guidance, same thing, but monoliths. Monoliths give you bonuses, and that's great. Glass Walks will save you a lot of trouble with a lot of traps, so that's very important to take. You don't have to take it, but I would say it's very, very nice and convenient. Treasure Hunt is great. Extra chests means extra items, which means extra power, which means easier runs. Demolish Spawners. There's spawners in the game that spawn enemies continuously. This removes all the hassle. When you clear a room, you've actually cleared the room. There's not more enemies coming. How you can combat this is up to you. I take enemy reinforcements. That's not too bad because they don't do too much damage usually. It's just more EXP. Lousy consumables, because pickups usually don't do much for me. It's only -1. But whatever. Relentless Threats gives you more threats, but threats only start in Act 3, and usually they're not too bad. They're not too much of a hassle. Enemy Overseers is good because enemy Overseers drop items, and so the more enemy mini bosses you have, the more chance you have to get items. So this is actually a benefit in my opinion. Agile Adversaries makes them move faster, not a big deal. Minor Strike means you can't deposit your ore and send it back up to the town. I would not take this if you're starting out because you need to get your ore to town all the time. Dry Springs, similarly, I would say Dry Springs should not be off when you're running your first runs because potion refills are very crucial. And then you got this stuff. Like you can turn off shops, but that's -3 items per act. That's pretty big. So I would not turn it off unless you're just going for negatives. But this is my page. I have to pay 250 every single time. The other thing I should note, as of right now, there's a bug where It's Not Your Lucky Day actually doesn't give you -3 luck. And so realistically, this is a free -2 points. But in the future that may change. It should change, so I would not count on that. The other thing to note about the fountain is I haven't told you about it because I didn't have the menu before. What happens is you have your pluses on this side and minuses on this side, and what you'll see is if I remove all these minuses, the price goes up exponentially for how much I have to pay for these good things. So you have to take bad things to cancel it out. On the contrary, on this preset, which is what I take if I'm trying to get EXP and just gold, I don't take spicy potions because that'll mess you up when you pop a pot. You know, it confuses you unless you're really good at that. I take all these negatives, right? I don't take this because this cancels out class titles, which is, I think they're crucial, so I wouldn't take that. And instant death you don't want to take because you don't want to die. But I get all these negatives. It costs me nothing, but I get 400% extra gold almost and 400% extra EXP. So this is kind of my, I really need EXP or gold right now, fountain preset. And I think that about covers, oh wait, we'll do a tuning too. So a tuning is how you spend your stars. Another way you spend your stars. And this is important because it doubles the effect of any item. The thing to note is there's items in this game like, let's find one, Tower Shield for example. 25% chance to block 25 damage. Percentages in this game are weird. What the tuning really does is it treats it like there's 2 of that item in your inventory. It doesn't actually double the stats. So instead of getting a 50% chance to block 50 physical damage, it's actually 2 sets of 25% chances to block 25 damage. So you have 3 cases. You can block 25, you can block 50, or you can block nothing. But you're pretty likely to block at least 25. Stuff like this that's a percentage, but it's not a percentage to do something, this actually gets doubled up to 30%. And then you have flat stuff like 5 magic resist, then that just becomes 10. So this is all very important. I would say in the Magic Anvil, your priorities are, at least the way I play it, are percentage things because they're very good usually. Crit chance and evade chance will save your life many times over, and luck increases those percentages. I would say those are your 3 big things to enhance first. Unless you're playing a skill build, you're gonna want like skill crit chance and skill power and stuff like that. You still want luck though, because then you're more likely to crit. I think that's pretty much it. The next thing we'll go over is the Pyramids of Prophecy stuff. This is just a small section because there's not too much added. This guy takes you to the arena. The more ranks of the arena you clear, you can talk to this guy over here, and you can spend swords and gold to get permanent upgrades to like 1 attack power. It gets very costly very fast, so I didn't say it's that worth it, but you can do it. The more important thing to note here is the other way to spend your ore are statues, and statues in the late game are very important. For example, my Callus is level 7. Every single level of the statue adds 5% of my armor to my attack power. So if I hover over my attack power stat, you'll see that I get 56 attack power from statues. That is a lot of attack power right off the rip, and it makes a big difference in your run. Kira gives 20% faster primary attacks, and you know there's a whole, you know, there's tons of statues, and you can pick which ones you want to upgrade and play with and stuff like that. But that's pretty much my guide to everything in Heroes of Hammerwatch other than the actual game itself. I'm not going to do, I may do class guides in the future, something like that, but I think Weeks does a pretty good job of covering that. I don't think I saw anything like this on the internet, so I hope this helps clarify a lot of stuff like attack power and how the percent chances work. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one, and you know, if you feel like it, please like and subscribe to the video. I'd really appreciate it. And I'll see you next time. Hey guys, I'm back again. I forgot to mention 3 things in the video. The first and foremost is that your level cap is displayed on the EXP bar in your character menu, the EXP icon. That increases by 5 every single time you beat an NG, and that's pretty much all there is to that. The other thing is in the Pyramid of Prophecy map, the arena that we were talking about, where you get the swords. The first time you beat any level of the arena, you unlock the Gladiator. That's how you unlock his class. And lastly, the statues. I forgot to mention, you know, you spend ore to get them, but you have to get their blueprints first. There were 2 numbers in the video if you'll look back, and the first number I believe is your it's the level of your statue, and the second number is how many levels of the blueprint you have. You can only upgrade up to the max blueprint level that you have, and how you get those blueprints is you run the Pyramid of Prophecy actual map, not the arena. If you go straight up in the town, you run the map, and you can find statue blueprints. They look like blueprints on the map, but they're orange, and you can get statue blueprints above your current difficulty level, but it gets less and less likely the more difficulty, the more difference there is between your difficulty level and the level of statue blueprint you're looking for. So if you want to maximize your chance of getting the blueprint you're looking for, run the level, the highest level you can, and hopefully that's about the same as the level of the statue blueprint you're looking for.